Hello and welcome to this Citi Sports Special. My name is Benjamin Nketiah. Today we are hanging out with England international Ryan Bertrand. Now he's one of those who's had a more productive career, very lengthy one, and that is played a large part of his football for Chelsea Football Club. He's been with Southampton as well. He's featured for Leicester City more recently. Today he's in the motherland and we're about to find out exactly what he is doing down here. This should be a pretty interesting conversation. I'm excited. Welcome back to this Citi Sports Special. Ryan Bertrand is our special guest. Ryan, it's good to have you here.
Pleasure, thank you. It's great to be here.
What brings you to Ghana? I mean, we are here, we're navigating our own footballing issues, and then we hear that Ryan Bertrand is in town. It's exciting news for us, but first of all, we need to ask what's going on with Ryan Bertrand.
Firstly, to a few things, to be honest. One thing more of on a human level, more about rediscovering. Coming back to Africa, which is amazing to do. Just being here and enjoying the communities and stuff. Secondly is to really discover and just see and learn, the talent that is here in Ghana and Africa as a whole. And with some friends that have some amazing sports business currently, and see how we can. I can perhaps add value to certain areas.
Well, I mean, you haven't played for Leicester City last. I mean, I need to ask you because there's Ghanaian interest at Leicester these days in Fatal, and yeah, we get to watch him week in, week out. Both of you know a lot about playing on the left-hand side of the field. What do you make of his opportunity? Because he couldn't cut it for Sporting's first team. Now he's in Leicester trying to make a name for himself and possibly go back and establish himself. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think he looks like a bright player. He's a young player, and sometimes, I think especially transitioning from Africa to the European leagues, sometimes you need to give players an element of growth and time. So it's not always going to work on your first club. You're not going to hit the floor running. And he's probably gone through a bit of a learning process, but he's now in the Premier League and there's no better place, Championship, sorry, but I'm sure Leicester will be in the Premier League at the end of this season, so they've started very, very well. There's no better place to showcase your abilities.
Talking about showcasing your abilities, you know a thing or two about going on loan because you had to go on loan a few times before eventually getting your big break. What was the biggest learning curve for you, or the biggest learning nuggets for you while you went on loan, and then when you got your first choice chance, how did that impact that?
Yeah, I think going on loan, there's so many gems. A little bit how we spoke about Fatou just then. You learn. It can be different things. It can be individual as a sports person, or about yourself as a human. As you're growing, you make your small mistakes.
Yeah.
You find out who you are as a footballer. You refine your preparation, your game plan, you understand the moments of the game, and all that. If you learn that and take that in, that's what prepares you for your big moment when it finally comes. Now,
you talk about your big moment. What would you consider the biggest moment of your career?
Thankfully there's been a few, which I'm very thankful for. But up there will be obviously playing for England and the Champions League. That was an amazing moment.
I like that you bring me to the England conversation because, again, these days England and Ghana cross swords a lot, and I'm going to take you through a few of them. Ryan Nketiah is one of those guys now, still eligible to play for Ghana, but he's played for basically all the junior England teams. I mean, how should he feel about making that decision? I mean, it's obviously his personal decision, but being somebody who's observed all these guys, some of them you've grown up with in the academy system, how do you think he should approach a decision like that?
I'm thinking at the moment, I think the difference is, if you look at a personal level, rather than solely concentrating on international football, I think these young talents that can play for example, in Nketiah's case, Ghana and England, at the same time he's emerged very well, and he's very, very close, but he's still establishing himself as a true number 9, the striker for Arsenal in his domestic case. So I think when that comes hand in hand and he solidifies his starting place there, and he feels in a domestic competition he's established consistently, then I think then he'll start to seek more and then have a better idea of what he wants to do.
Talking about having a better idea, again, more Ghanaian players. I'll throw a lot of them your way before I come to what you yourself are doing down here. Talk to me about Kudus. How do you feel about him? I was at the London Stadium when he scored his first Premier League goal. It was an eruption, but I spoke to a few fans after the goal, and some of them didn't seem happy with the fact that he's shown that he obviously has talent, but Moyes is not starting him in games. How do you feel about, first of all, him starting games and his ceiling and what he can do in the Premier League?
I think he's going to have an exciting career. I think it's back. You've got to give praise to the Right to Dream Academy. I think amazing program for kids, for unearthing talent and giving them the right pathways, and raising people mentally stable as well.
Yeah.
And he's just thrived and gone on to greater things, and now he's on the biggest stage. I think Kudus specifically, it's a little bit of patience. It's hard to have patience in sports. Everybody wants, as a fan, you want to win. As a player, you want things tomorrow.
Was that like that when you were coming up?
Yeah, I think patience was a major thing. I think having that and being able to have that, still have that unwavering confidence in yourself that you're going to be consistent and really come through. But you need that element of patience, and no doubt that's where he is with Moyes. He's come in, he's learning the English game, he's learning the current tactics from the manager. Yeah. But in his moments, he's excelling, and I've no doubt he's probably going to be a starter from now on.
Talking about being a starter, in the Ghana national team, there's a lot of apathy now. We talk about our team is not good enough. We talk about the coaching hasn't been great. Obviously, Chris Hughton is somebody you'd be familiar with because he's like coached in the English system. If you could give Ghanaians some advice with regards to Chris Hughton, for instance, what would it be? Because there's a lot of pressure now.
Yeah, for sure, and I think that comes hand in hand. And the Ghanaian fans are right to have their expression because that's part and parcel of football. I would say if you look at the Ghanaian national team, it's in a kind of a transition. We've unearthed some new stars that can really play well on the global stage. So a little bit comes back to the word patience again, but it's very, very tough. I know when you love and want the best for your country, it's very, very tough to have patience. But I think they'll handle it very well, and the more game time these kind of next generation of, for example, Ernest and Kudus really get going, you look very strong.
How well do you think Ghana can do in the AFCON though? I mean, aside everything, you speak about patience, which means team building, but the AFCON is in January. How well do you think the Black Stars can do?
Listen, on paper, although they have some young players that they're world class. So, and tournament football, isn't the form book goes out the window. Yeah. It doesn't really matter about your recent games and how well you've been doing. Yeah. You could be flying and then not work in the tournament, or go in with poor results and do well. Tournament football is about establishing the collective and really taking it game by game, but having that confidence to go for it. So there's no reason why they can't go all the way.
Talk to me about the clubs you played for. Southampton significantly, Chelsea significantly, Leicester also significantly. Where would you say you had your best experience?
I'd say in the early mid parts of Southampton. Chelsea experiences in terms of football experience, but in terms of personal playing, there was a reason of transitioning from Chelsea to Southampton.
Because you wanted more playing time.
Exactly. I wanted to be more consistent, wanted to feel more established, I wanted to push on and go again. And I've done that at Southampton, which I really, really cherished their moments. We had a fantastic team, and we've done some great things.
I mean, I hate to do this, but again, more Ghanaian interest. There's a Ghanaian at Southampton now, Kamal Dean. He also came under a lot of pressure, big money move. It's a record signing for Southampton. They paid quite a lot of money for him. His Premier League performances were a little inconsistent. Now he's looking a lot more like himself in the Championship. A word for him, and how good do you think this kid can be?
He's a dangerous player. He definitely looks, very creative, very positive. Great at going on the outside. Like you said, he's finding his feet. Yeah. Still, I think when you have talents, the talents need to be understood by the managers also. Yeah. I think that's been a bit of a slow process. Okay. If you look at he wasn't in the team in the Championship at the start. And if you look at Southampton's fortunes in the recent games, they've turned slightly, and that I feel has to do with the introduction of Kamaldeen, who's played in the last few games and really turned the tides.
On the tangent of international football, would you say your England career was as fulfilling as you wanted it to be? I mean, you played through the ranks right up to the top.
Yeah, I think you can always be, amazing to play for England. What I looked at when I was a kid and what I dreamed of. So to play one game for England was great. I was lucky to play, I think 19 games. I've scored for my country. I've assisted for my country. I've been to the Olympics with Great Britain as well. So yeah,
full circle.
Yeah, it would have been nice to get to a World Cup. Unfortunately, that never happened. But you can't be too in life. You can't be too focused on what you missed out. You just have to be thankful for what you have and what you've done.
Still stay on that conversation. England made it to the Euro final, lost to Italy. I'm not sure if you watched that final. How did that feel for you, and how do you feel about the Three Lions' chances of eventually winning it all?
I think they're knocking on the door. They've been there consistently now.
Yeah.
So in the up and coming tournaments, I'm sure they'll be confident to go that one step further. But tournament football is tough. The Italy result seemed like a fantastic moment to make that step. Unfortunately, it never happened, but you have to keep the mentality and keep going.
Let's talk Premier League now. We do the Premier League here. We run radio commentary for the people all season, so it's a big deal down here with us. You obviously haven't been a product of the Chelsea system. How do you feel watching Chelsea now going through a rebuild, new ownership where young players have been bought for big money and it all doesn't seem to be coming together as quickly?
Yeah, I think it comes back to them words, and there's a transition, there's a new business model as a whole.
Yeah.
Every club has their specific models that they would like to run. I think Chelsea have implemented this, and only time will tell their fruits of their labour. But they've signed top talent from around the market, and you need a bit of patience again. But like you say, it's tough when you have such historic demands, and if you look at the history of Chelsea, it's always tough. So they've turned it around of late. Showed some positive signs. So hopefully they can keep building on this, and we'll see in a year or so.
Let's talk about the players that you like. Who do you like in the Premier League now in terms of goal scoring? I mean, Erling Haaland is an obvious choice. You're not allowed to say Erling Haaland. Who do you like in terms of goal scoring in the Premier League?
The goal scoring in the Premier League. Who do I like? It's tough to think past Erling, to be honest. He just dominates everything. He's really stepped up to the mark in this season.
We've had some Ollie Watkins.
Ollie Watkins has done very well.
He's hit the ground running this season.
He's had the responsibility to lead the line for Villa. I think he's really rose to the occasion, so he'll definitely be one for sure.
Your thoughts on Darwin Núñez? Divide opinion a little.
Yeah, I think he's a fantastic player. There's a reason they signed him. It's interesting to see where they see him in the future. I was under the impression that he is an out-and-out striker, but his pace and his attributes lend him to playing off the left, which is effective too. So I think he's slowly getting better and better and better in terms of his statistics. He's obviously contributing value to the Liverpool team as a whole all the time, but I think you need him to get more and more goals, which is, I think, slowly coming. So it'd be interesting to see whether he stays off the left or he can make the striker role. So,
talk to me a bit about Hazard as well. Retired recently. Funny, but us in the media, we like to debate and compare everything, and so perhaps we should have been celebrating him during his retirement, but we were comparing him to who he was better than and who he was not. I mean, you obviously experienced him personally at some point, whether on the opposite side or with him at Chelsea. How good was this guy, and where would you place him among, say, Premier League greats or even Chelsea greats?
He was amazing. Such a natural talent, with a love for the game. He played without fear and very, very dangerous. Had a low centre of gravity, and
Yeah.
Very dynamic. So yeah, I think for Chelsea, yeah, it probably makes one of the all-time greats in terms of a winger position.
Does he get into a Chelsea all-time 11?
Yeah.
He does?
He does.
That's interesting. Talk to me about your own decision to come down here to connect with yourself, you know, connect with the motherland and all that. Where was that touch point? I mean, what moment prompted you to say, you know what, I need to go back here, I need to see what's going on down here, see how I can connect with my roots?
Yeah, I think it, coming to the latter stages in my career and starting to think about, you know, the future and what I want to do and stuff, and you know, it was a very interesting moment to I have a philosophy in myself where I'd love to use sports for purpose, sports for helping communities. So, you know, a friend of mine, obviously I know Tom Vernon, who started Right to Dream, and Mr. Mansour, that his partner is one of the owners within it now, and you know, that was an inspiring story. So, you know, to come down and really see things firsthand and see the talent on show and just kind of sharpen my mind of what the possibilities are, because I think, you know, the talent here is endless, and you know, it's coming down and not just chucking my ideas, but just sitting there and learning, actually learning from the people here also. Talking
about learning from the people here, I mean, what was that experience been like, meeting Ghanaians?
It's been amazing. It's been, you know, I have a lot of friends, played with a lot of Ghanaians. And
who are your favorite Ghanaians to have played with?
To play with?
Yeah. Too many?
Yeah, there's a few. But yeah, I always come back and it seems typical, or seems the obvious answer, but it would be Michael Essien, because, you know, he was just so, it was great for me as a youngster coming in. You know, sometimes it can be very daunting moving from youth to the first team. Yeah. And although he was a warrior and he let you know on the pitch, you know, he was very welcoming.
How old were you then when he was on the team?
Yeah, so I was on my loan route when he was there. Okay. About 17, 18, 19, and then 19, I was kind of back and making my way into the first team properly.
The Jose Mourinho era?
Yeah, Mourinho era, yeah, 1 and 2, yeah, definitely.
Wow. I mean, you say he was critical to you. What was that like? Was it sharing like a word of encouragement? Was it like just working or watching him work? What was that like?
Yeah, just allowing you to, you know, be really comfortable. And when you have that validation, that recognition from the Essien, Drogba's of the world, that really gives you the confidence that you are at the level. So then once they give you that validation, you really start to perform.
Talking about that validation, again, Mourinho part 1 and 2, you experienced that. You look at Mourinho now, people say that his management style perhaps hasn't evolved with new school players, because maybe the mentality of players like Lampard and Essien was different from the mentality of players who are younger now. How do you measure that Mourinho conversation?
It's hard to mention, you know, whether Mourinho's, you know, can he engage with the modern day players. The topic is, were the previous players a bit more, you know, mature and probably grown up? I guess that's the debate that he proposed as well. But you can't question his track record. I think, he's done amazing. He's still doing amazing things with Roma also. And he's still developing, you know, the likes of Tammy Abraham, and people have gone there and really prospered. So whether it's to everyone liking, he's still doing the business.
Talk to me about your favorite manager, because as a player you work with a lot of different brains, different styles, different leadership approaches and whatnot. Who have you liked, or what manager has impacted your career the most?
I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of managers, because, you know, and I've loved that, because I've been able, like you mentioned, to be able to pick small things and kind of shape my own understanding of football, not from a one specific source, but a well-rounded approach. But I think the most pivotal ones for me were probably, you know, I'd say there's been a few where, say, first edition Mourinho, being like 16 on pre-season tour.
Yeah.
Seeing the standards and the demand. Ancelotti for giving me my debut, and then Roberto Di Matteo for, you know, trusting me in the Champions League final, to Ronald Koeman who allowed me to really flourish. So
you've really worked with all the stars.
Yeah, really good. It's been amazing.
Let's zone in a little bit on that Champions League final. I mean, rarely does a player make their Champions League debut in the final. How is that for you as a player? I mean, mentally, are you thinking this is a game I'm going to get a chance to play in? Are you thinking, well, if they throw me in, I'm going to do well anyway? Just talk me through your headspace at the time.
Yeah, I think I had an inkling that it could happen, but I never thought it would happen. I think in the few weeks before the end of the season, me and Ashley Coley, we played in this similar style for the last game or so in the Premier League, in training for many weeks. But it's one of them things where you think maybe, but the reality is you think probably not. So yeah, I'd say that now.
Again, some advice to players on longevity. I see, like, you've had such a long, fulfilling career. You need to be able to share some of those nuggets with us. What keeps players having careers as long as yours? Because some players coming in, it's 5 years and they're done with the mainstream, maybe 10 years and they're done. You're still going strong at your age. What's been the secret?
I think focus, focus and being honest with yourself and continuously setting yourself targets to continuously grow as a sportsman or a person. Focus and try and keep the main thing.
Talk to me about some player issues. From a journalistic standpoint, I'm thinking there are too many football games coming. We're looking at an expanded Champions League, an expanded AFCON, a Club World Tournament that's expanded. As players, how do you feel about that?
My opinion of it is, I think it's great to play the games, or the interesting concept. I think the Champions League concept lends itself better to the consumer and the fans, for sure. However, you have to be wary of the recovery times. I think when I first started, we had a break of around 5-6 weeks. I think that's getting squeezed to like 4 weeks, and if you're an international, sometimes 12 days. I think to have a consistent season and then to have 12 days to 3 weeks break, it's not long enough mentally to switch off or to recover physically, I feel. And when players can recover and mentally switch off to really come back and give their best, the product will be better for the fans as well. So that's the only thing, possibly the recovery time.
Okay, so you'd probably like players to have more recovery time just to fit into the calendar, but you think that a lot of games necessarily isn't problematic?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a bit of both, but I think there's some concepts on possibly, I think, where football's growing. I think what possibly could, maybe in Europe a bit more, they have, for example, the Nations League, which creates a better chance for people to get qualified and stuff. But I think the expansion of international football with domestic football, I think that's the battle that needs to have some understanding.
Talk about battles. I battle a lot with VAR lately. I think VAR possibly doesn't belong in football, but again, it helps my job in certain ways, so I'm sort of conflicted. How does the player feel about VAR? How does Ryan Bertrand feel about VAR?
I think the technology is great. The application is what's troubling. More clarity, more refinement, the execution is, I think, to be honest, so far been not at the standard. So I think the technology is great. But the application of it really needs to be thoroughly looked at.
You don't miss the days when you could score a goal and didn't have to look over your shoulder?
Oh yeah, I think you have them moments where you score one glance at the linesman and you're off. I think there are moments, and it's two. Either you want to know 100% accurate, but for me with VAR, there is no room for error, because I think in previous times without VAR, if you was offside or you knew that goal shouldn't have stood,
Yeah.
you kind of felt like over the course of the season you would get your breaks as well. So I think that natural kind of Mother Nature's way of balancing things out sit very well within the fans and players.
Finally, just my closing thoughts on the league itself, because I'm thinking I'll probably be seeing you before the season ends. Who's winning the league this season?
I'm going to go for Man City. Yeah, I'm going to go for Man City.
Even after the players they lost?
Yeah.
Even after winning 3 times on the bounce?
Man City, I think they generally start slow. And I think, be only, this. Yeah, I think Man City don't do it. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm a Liverpool fan, so I'm not sure how I feel about that. I heard some time ago that you might like Liverpool a little. Is that true? Ryan Bertrand?
I was actually linked there when I think I was leaving Chelsea. I was on loan at Aston Villa.
Yeah.
And there was interest, but they ended up going for Alberto Moreno instead. So that was
how was that for you? How did that feel like? That's a very interesting story.
Yeah, no, it's just part of the game, to be honest.
Were you looking forward to it? Had you told your agent, make sure we get that Liverpool deal done?
It's a fantastic offering and a great place to go and play a game. But thankfully, my time worked out Southampton also.
Just give us a final word. I mean, Ghanaians out there, obviously happy to see you. Like I've said already, we love the Premier League down here. Just a word to Ghanaians out there who are witnessing Ryan Bertrand speak to us for the first time.
I just think a testament to the country and everyone as a whole. I heard a lot about it through my friends. But coming here was the exact experience that I was told. And I'm looking forward to coming here many more times and not just being a one-stop and go. I'm looking forward to applying consistency to being here.
Ryan, thank you very much for your time. It's been amazing. Hopefully, this won't be the only time we speak to you. Hopefully, you come back again. Like you said, it will be amazing to have you back, and let's see what the story is like then. So I wish you the best in all your endeavors, and thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so you heard England international Ryan Bertrand sharing his thoughts on some Ghanaian players he's played with, his opinion on the new school Ghana, the Black Stars playing for Chelsea, Chelsea's new ownership structure and modern trends in football as well. He really has gone 360 with us on this particular one. So that's it from us here on Citi Sports. My name is Benjamin Nketiah. Catch you on the next one.